Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode. So we're approaching halfway through the League 2 campaign now, and as you can see we're sitting atop of League 2, about 6 points clear of Southend. So we've created a little bit of a buffer between ourselves and the chasing teams, and that's because we've had a 100% record in the league since the last episode. So 3 wins from 3 in the league, including a really decent victory over Carlisle. We've also had progression in the FA Cup, so we beat Forest Green in the FA Cup, but as you can see we have unfortunately been knocked out of the Johnson's Paint Trophy at the semi-final stage. That was after a 2-1 loss away at Luton, which we knew was going to be a tough game. So let's have a look at the highlights of those games now, and then we'll crack on with the episode. So we were safely through to the third round in the FA Cup, following a comfortable win at home over Forest Green. We didn't overexert ourselves in this game, we never looked like losing, but it ended up being a narrow 1-0 win. Only 2 shots on target from us, so we were pretty wasteful in front of goal, but as you can see, the average rating from a lot of our players was actually pretty decent in this game. Tyler Reid with the assist, and that got him man of the match, an 8.9 rating. And then came the trip to Luton, so we knew this was going to be a tough game. They really gave us a tough game in the league earlier in the season as well, and Luton looked again really strong here. It was a narrow loss, but in fairness we were second best for most of the game and we didn't really threaten them for the first 60 minutes at all. We actually went to a bit more of an attacking mentality for the final 30 minutes, chasing the game down, and it was Billy Waters who got the goal back for us, and that actually got him player of the match. And unfortunately that's us out of the JPT for this season. But this month has really been about the league, and we started our 3 wins on the bounce with a very decent victory at home against Carlisle. So it was a snowy Damson Park in this game, and in fairness it did take us a little while to break Carlisle down, We also did concede a few too many openings on goal. As you can see, 7 shots on target for Carlisle, but we were pretty decent in defence, all being said. But we were pretty clinical in front of goal for the shots we did have on target at least. Waters with player of the match again in this game, 2 assists from him and 1 goal. Geraldo Martin opened the scoring for us in the 36th minute, and a brace from Carl McFarlane followed. And again, pretty decent outings from a lot of our players in this game as well. And then we travelled to Stevenage, who were just out of the playoff positions going into this game. And I think we finally put to bed our stuttering away form. Henry Jones pulled the strings in the middle of the park in this game. He got player of the match with 2 assists, and it was a good solid away win for us. Goals from Tancock from a corner and Geraldo here, that secured the 2-0 advantage going into half time, and Stevenage really didn't threaten at all. And our final outing was a close encounter at home to Burton. Not many opportunities for either team here, and in fairness we were actually lucky not to draw this game. But it was goals from Billy Waters and Darnell Johnson in the first half. And the Billy Waters goal was something really special actually, a very good individual effort. That got him player of the match. But it was Burton's regen striker, Nigel Friend, who I have been tracking for a couple of seasons, and he caused us some real problems when he came on in the second half. But thankfully we managed to see out the game, and that has left the league table looking like this. So we're now 6 points clear of Southend, who have drawn both of their last 2 games. And I think we've now won 5 on the bounce in the league, and I think we're undefeated in about 10 games. So really impressive form for us going into the second half of the season. And our goal difference and our goals for are still really impressive. So 53 goals for, and a plus 31 goal difference from 22 games. Not something to be sniffed at. So we've had to utilise Darnell Johnson at right back for many of the games since the last episode, and that's because both Tyler Reid and Ben Glasgow have been injured, pretty much back to fitness now, so we are starting to involve them in first team football again. But that injury did really stretch us at the back, and it just shows how vulnerable we are to injuries across any of the positions. And I think in fairness, we've actually been quite lucky so far this season with not picking up injuries to crucial players. So I'm not going to go into the statistics in any detail in this episode, but what I did want to share with you was the average minutes per goal statistic, and this is for the Sky Bet League 2 for all of the players involved. And as you can see there, Geraldo Martin and Rowan Liebird at the top, 106 minutes and 108 minutes respectively. 15 goals from Geraldo Martin just really shows how much of a threat he has been. And Carl McFarlane not too far behind either, 125 minutes per goal for him on average. So pretty decent contribution from our main goal scorers. So we've now played a few games at the newly expanded Damson Park, our expanded home ground, and obviously we're playing at Agbrus, that's Kidderminster's home stadium, for the first sort of half of the season. Playing away from our spiritual home really impacted on attendances. Many of the games were only drawing a few hundred people to come watch. The thing I've noticed since we've returned to Damson Park is our attendances, our home attendances, have improved dramatically. Around 2,000 people attending the home games, so I'm hoping that is going to boost the economy and boost our finances, and that's something that we desperately need at the moment. We've also had the draw for World Cup 2018, and a pretty interesting group for England. So Group D there, we've been drawn alongside Costa Rica, Italy and the Ivory Coast. England are ranked number 2 in the world at the moment, so they should progress out of that group. But it should be pretty straightforward for most of the seeded teams come World Cup. And a few other bits and pieces to bring you up to speed on. We've been approached by numerous clubs now to apply for interview or attend interview for managerial positions. One came from Leeds United, so a very established club. So obviously we have been turning the opportunity for these interviews down to concentrate on Solihull Moors, but that is something that we are going to have to keep doing, I'd say, in the coming seasons. And the other piece of news that I wanted to talk about as well And it's actually something that we discussed in the comments on the previous episode. And I'm actually recording this only a few days after that conversation. And that conversation was around takeovers of clubs in League 2. When we were discussing this in the comments section, I mentioned that there have been a few clubs that have been taken over by community trusts or fan trusts, but I hadn't actually seen that many takeovers in this save at all, and no real tycoon takeovers to speak of. And inevitably, as soon as we had that conversation, the news came in our inbox that Scunthorpe were targeted for a takeover bid from a Mexican tycoon, and that takeover has gone through. So Scunthorpe, who were favourites for League 2, languishing in mid-table at the moment, but they are now backed by a Central American tycoon who's promised to clear the debt, and I think they've been given quite a bit of backing when it comes to the transfer market. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do come the January transfer window. And it'd be interesting to see how they perform, not necessarily this season, but in coming seasons as well. So do let me know in the comments if you've had anything similar happen in this Football Manager, if you've seen any unusual takeover bids or teams that have transcended from languishing in lower league to challenging for the Premier League, for example. So Boxing Day today. It's a festive trip away to Yeovil. Yeovil sitting in 21st position. Should be quite a comfortable game, I think, today. They have only just hired a new manager in Matthew Upson, so a pretty interesting managerial recruitment from them also. We've had a few games now in quite quick succession, so probably going to make a few changes to the playing staff today. And as I've quickly mentioned before, we are on a 5-game win streak in the league going into this game. So like I said, we've made a few changes to the team because of our fixture congestion, and we're playing what should be a weaker Yeovil side today. And obviously that fixture congestion has impacted our fitness ever so slightly. So the team we're setting out with today: Luke Simpson in goal, Ben Purrington, Darnell Johnson, Scott Tancock and Ben Glasgow playing in defence. Ben Glasgow's match sharpness isn't there just yet following his return from injury, but I wasn't too impressed by Tyler Reid's performance in his last outing. His positional play wasn't too good, so we brought in Glasgow for today. We've got Willock, Sambone and Henry Jones in the centre of the park. So Henry Jones has been really impressive the last few games. And I think that's because I've tried to utilise him as more of a deep line playmaker where he can orchestrate the play and really exert himself on the game a little bit more. And that's obviously because Charlie Cooper has picked up his 5th booking of the season, so he's suspended for this game. We've also made a couple of changes at the top, so Jake Kenyon's come in to start the game. He hasn't played too many games for us so far, so I want to introduce him on the left wing. We've also playing Rowan Liebert up top instead of Carl McFarlane, but Billy Waters will be ever present on the right wing. And because of the number of loanees we've got in the squad, I've had to drop our goalkeeper. So we're favourites for this game, even though we are away. Yeovil, who are languishing in 21st position today. And obviously we are on the back of a 5-game win streak going into this one as well. Looks like they've got quite a structured defensive midfield unit there, utilising the defensive midfielder. But up top, pretty similar to us, so we just need to make sure that we look after their wide men today. So closing down their defensive midfielder, closing down their wingers and their central midfielders, and sticking tight to their striker today. So we're asking them to go out and dominate today. We should win this quite comfortably, I'd say, but just giving them a little bit of faith as well. We're staying on the standard mentality, our usual set of instructions, so retaining possession, working the ball into the box, working the overlap, a normal tempo and a normal defensive line. So Yeovil to start the game. Moors away today. Good bit of possession from us in the opening few minutes, but a corner's cleared at the front post. Kenyon with the shot. Liebert blocked again. 2 opportunities there. Another corner. And it's Jones to deliver this one. Again doesn't beat the first man. Liebert picks it up though. Sambone. What can he do? He finds Willock. Spreads it into Billy Waters. He's got 2 men on him. Can he get a cross in from this deep position? Oh, it's a tackle. And that should be the end of that attack. Decent opening there. We had an opportunity which we blocked. Good possession, but it's pretty even between the teams at the moment. Purrington, that was a poor pass. Dickinson clears it. Bird now. Not many players with him, and he's lost the ball. Willock, can we get him on the counter? Billy Waters, can he find anybody? He delivers it. Rowan Liebird smashed into the back of the net. An easy chance, and Liebird takes advantage of the mistake from Yeovil in the middle of the park. There's a good speed in transition from the Moors on the counter-attack there. Billy Waters with a good cross in, and Liebird beat his man into the 6-yard box to make it 1-0. But here's a throw into Yeovil. Dolan finds Butcher. Laird now, he's under pressure, but he does well. He finds Smith on the left wing, a long ball in, Gibbons at the back post, and the post denies him. But it is a corner. Dolan to take this one. He delivers it, a good delivery, but cleared by Tancock. So Yeovil showing a little bit of threat, so that's something that we need to be wary of. I'm just going to drop to counter for the last 10 minutes before half time. Only the one shot on target for us from 5, pretty even between the teams, and pass completion rate is average at best for the Moors today. So 1-0 at half time, only the one really good opportunity, but we had a couple of shots blocked from a set piece early on in the first half. I tell them that there's room for improvement and just a little bit more encouragement into the team as well. So not too impressive performances from many of our players, including Henry Jones and Sam Bone. We don't have many options from the bench to come on in midfield, just Svetan Filipov really. So we'll see what we can conjure up in the second half before we make any changes, and it is the Moors to kick off with a small, narrow lead over Yeovil. Donald Johnson's having a bit of a torrid time in defence as well. But here's Yeovil again. Dixon. He does well to hold off the defenders. Smith smashes it in. Gibbons again. He has had 2 opportunities like that now. We're just not getting close enough to him. Just going to go to our advanced tactics and just going to have a look at opposition instructions. So we are trying to stay tight on Dixon. Just going to close down the wing backs as well. Smith has been causing us a little bit of trouble. As far as changes that we can make, well, Kenyon's had a quiet game. He's obviously come in for Callum Martin, but I'm actually going to bring Martin back on. I'm also going to bring Conroy on for Johnson, who's had a pretty tough outing, I think. Midfielders, again, haven't been fantastic, but the only option we really have is Filipov, so we may introduce him later on. I'm going to stick on the counter for the time being because it is a narrow lead and I don't want to overexert ourselves here. It looks like Southend must be losing. Last 10 minutes, a few more fresh legs, and it's Sam Bone coming off for Filipov. Last few moments of this game, and it's all quiet. We really haven't had many options, many opportunities to show you in front of goal. Only 6 shots. We've been outclassed by Yeovil actually, who have been quite impressive for a lower table opposition. Waters on the board as well to hold it up. Jones now, Filipov with a bit of energy. Counter out of Martin, what can he do? He looks for some support from Conroy, who finds Purrington on the left wing and doesn't have time to deliver across. A narrow 1-0 win over a lesser opposition for us today. But Billy Waters again with player of the match. His form of late has been really impressive. So he got the assist for Rowan Liebird, and that was the difference between the teams today. So 8 key passes for Billy Waters in that game, and that obviously included the assist, so decent outing for him. And Southend have lost at home to Port Vale, and Port Vale have really risen in the league ranking, so they're sitting in 3rd place now. So that loss for Southend has left us 9 points clear, so a fantastic buffer over our rivals. An unconvincing but a decent win, and that's our 6th win on the bounce. And that is 9 games undefeated in the league as well. So all wins apart from 2 draws since that Scunthorpe loss in October. So pretty decent form actually for us going into the new year. And when we come back into the next episode, it's going to be our away trip to Wrexham. So they're currently sitting in 19th position. And between now and then, we obviously have the FA Cup 3rd round against Morecambe. Other than that, we've got a few other tricky ties. Burton away and Stevenage at home, so the reverse fixtures of the two fixtures we've recently played as well. So an interesting fixture schedule that worked out to be. We've also got an away trip to Hartlepool, and that's going to be only 3 days after the FA Cup game. So I think that Hartlepool game is going to be probably the most difficult tie of the next month. And the other game that we'll have to play is our home game to Mansfield. So I'm hoping that we can continue our win streak in the league. So thanks for watching again, guys. Do leave a comment below if you've had any interesting takeover bids, whether that be of your team or other interesting teams in the English leagues, or any nation for that matter. Do let me know if you've had any oil tycoon or any oligarch takeover of lesser teams. I'll be really interested to know how frequent they are happening in FM16. And as always, do leave a like on the video if you're enjoying the series, subscribe for more Rise of the Moors if you're new, and I'll see you in the next episode for the away trip to Wrexham. Cheers.